Think about what WWE looks like right now in 2026. The ticket prices that have doubled in 2 years, four-match pay-per-view cards, commercials plastered into every segment. The ring apron is an advertisement. The mat is an advertisement. Your favorite wrestlers are walking billboards, and WWE calls this premium. They put the product on Netflix, they put the pay-per-views on ESPN, and they told you it was a gift. Then they ran a discount promotion on WrestleMania tickets because the building was not selling out. WrestleMania, that show that used to sell itself? This is the WWE that TKO built. This is the product under Mark Shapiro's ticket yield strategy. Mark Shapiro is the chief operating officer of WWE. And this is what professional wrestling looks like when the people running it answer to the shareholders first and the fans second. And this week, we found out that none of this had to happen because Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, he tried to buy WWE and he almost pulled it off. My name's VSOP and this is HHW Radio. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics and Post Wrestling broke this story yesterday using newly unredacted court filings from the ongoing WWE shareholder lawsuit in Delaware. Now, before we get into the numbers, let me give you the quick context that you need. Vince McMahon, he stepped down as WWE chairman and CEO in the summer of 2022. Following a Wall Street Journal investigation into misconduct allegations. And if you're wondering what that misconduct was, more on that later. He came back to the board in January 2023, saying that he wanted to oversee a potential sale of the company. But then in January 2024, he resigned permanently after a federal sex trafficking lawsuit was filed against him by a former employee, tying to the whole misconduct thing that I spoke of earlier. Now, we're not going to go deep on that today, but you can look online and see all the details of that lawsuit if you want the gory details. It's quite the read. But what matters for this story is the window in between. That early 2023 window, when Vince was back at the table and WWE was officially for sale. That is when the bidding happened. That is when Tony Khan made his move. So 4 interested parties, they submitted formal offers. Now let me break down who these people are because this is not just a wrestling story. This is a billionaire story. The first bidder, Liberty Media. You probably know them as the company that owns Formula One racing, serious sports money. And they came in with a bid between $8.5 and $8.9 billion to purchase WWE. Now, the second bidder, that's KKR. That is a private equity firm. And if you've ever heard someone say a big company got bought by Wall Street, and then immediately started cutting costs and raising prices, that's private equity. That's the KKR energy. So they came in with a bid between 8 and 8.7 billion to purchase WWE. Now the third bidder, the one that we're all familiar with now, was from Endeavor. Now this is the company that actually won. Endeavor is a massive entertainment and sports agency. They already owned UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. Their CEO, Ari Emanuel, is one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. If the name sounds familiar, it is because he is the inspiration for the character Ari Gold in the show Entourage. That Ari. He won the bid with an all-stock deal valued at $95.66 per share. So that deal created TKO Group Holdings, the same TKO that is now running WWE and UFC under one roof. And 3 years later, TKO stock trades at around $200 a share, effectively doubling what anybody paid in 2023. But then there's the fourth bidder, the one that nobody knew about until this week. And that company was called Base 10, a company that was incorporated in Florida in 2014. And the sole officer was listed as Tony Khan. The address was the Jacksonville Jaguars football stadium, because of course it is. Tony Khan's father owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. The court filing did not even need to say Tony Khan's name. It just said Base 10 is the owner of All Elite Wrestling, a professional wrestling promotion that plainly would enjoy significant synergies with WWE. Significant synergies. Ain't that some shit? That's lawyer language. That means that these two companies would go absolutely crazy together. So per Thurston's reporting, Tony Khan offered $6.9 billion to purchase WWE, which was the lowest bid in the room by a considerable margin. Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer confirmed the story independently, and Fightful confirmed this as well. But Tony Khan declined to comment to all of them. There are two reasons that Tony Khan probably did not advance past the first round, and both are worth talking about. The first is money. $6.9 billion against other bids that are in the $8 to $9 billion range is not a competitive offer. And Thurston's reporting notes that Base 10 indicated that it would need equity and debt financing partners to complete the transaction. So that means Tony Khan did not have the money to do this alone. He needed help. And that is not a position of strength in a bidding war when you're trying to purchase a company as large as WWE. Now, the second reason is more interesting. The plaintiffs in this shareholder lawsuit allege that Vince McMahon effectively pre-selected Endeavor because Ari Emanuel personally assured McMahon his future with the company post-merger, meaning that Vince McMahon will still have a job. But the defendants deny it. But if that allegation has any truth to it, then it did not matter what Tony Khan bid. The fix was already in. Vince was never going to hand professional wrestling to the guy who built his competition. Now, here is where it gets fun, because the real question is not why Tony Khan lost. The real question is what professional wrestling looks like right now if he wins. And think about what you're watching today. 2 separate rosters, 2 separate championships, 2 separate weekly shows, a pay-per-view calendar that does not overlap, talent that cannot cross between companies. Fans are not really forced to choose sides, but a lot of them do. I myself, I watch AEW and WWE. But now imagine one ownership group controlling all of it. You want CM Punk versus MJF? Well, that match already exists. You want Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe? Well, that match has already happened. But if you want a WrestleMania card that has both the WWE Championship and the AEW World Championship defended on the same night, now that could have happened. And the combined roster alone would be the most talented collection of professional wrestlers in the history of the business. Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley, all of them on the same card as Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, to name a few. I'm not even sure if the internet wrestling community survives that conversation. But here's the other side of it. Tony Khan running AEW and Tony Khan running the combined entity of AEW and WWE are 2 completely different propositions. The creative challenges of running one promotion are nothing compared to running both. Look what he's doing with Ring of Honor right now. And if you watch AEW long enough, you know that Tony Khan's booking can be sometimes brilliant and then sometimes maddening in equal measure. So scaling that to the biggest wrestling company on the planet is not a guarantee of anything. So here's what my mind keeps coming back to. This is not just a fun what if. No, this story tells us something real about the current state of professional wrestling. Tony Khan tried to buy WWE. That tells you everything about how serious he takes this business. This was not a PR stunt. This was not a negotiating tactic. This was a formal bid with a dollar amount attached to it, confirmed by the court documents and reported by WrestleNomics, Post Wrestling, Wrestling Observer, and Fightful, all on the same day. The man who built AEW from scratch looked at the WWE in 2023 and said, I want that too. And the reason it did not happen has nothing to do with desire and everything to do with structure. Vince McMahon was never selling to the competition. Endeavor was never going to let a lower bid with financing contingencies be an all-stock deal that made everyone who stayed rich. The process was what the process was. But we are sitting here in 2026 watching WWE charge more money for less product while the TKO stock doubles. And somewhere in all of that is the knowledge that there was a version of this where Tony Khan could have been running both companies. I do not know if that version would be better or worse, but I know it is different. And right now, different sounds pretty good. So that is my take. Tony Khan bid $6.9 billion for WWE in 2023. Wow. And he lost to Endeavor. And now we got TKO. Check out the full story from Brandon Thurston at Post Wrestling and WrestleNomics. HHW fam, I want to know what you think. If Tony Khan was to buy the WWE in 2023, what would be the first match that you would book? Or would you keep them completely separate? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to read every single one of these. New episode of HHW Hip Hop and Wrestling is live right now. A WrestleMania 42 preview, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes versus the new recently heel turned Randy Orton. Links in the description. Check that out. And I'm out.